so fresh, looking so fresh. When I walk by, breaking their necks. Waiting in line at the team store. Now I'm feeling fly like a condor. Eyes on me when I walk through the door. Man, I wish I bought a couple more. Cause I really love my city. It was worth every penny. If it were at my show, then I know they gon' tip me. Think I might add a couple patches. If you think it's ugly, you capping. Now my whole outfit matching. Never going out of fashion.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Talking Friars. The Padres get swept by the Mariners, and that was not a fun weekend of baseball to watch. 0 for 21 with runners in scoring position. Had guys striking out in big spots. Had the big-time guys that are either getting paid a lot of money or are scheduled to be getting paid a lot of money in the future, just not coming through and doing their jobs good enough. And I thought today was a game of inches in some of these situations, but what matters the most is the result, the end score, and the bottom line is the Padres' offense for sure. Bullpen was struggling a little bit, but offensively for sure just was not good enough, and so they get swept by the Mariners. Now, the other team up north did get swept this weekend as well, and they got swept by the Angels, and so I know a sweep is a sweep, and both teams get swept, so it's like, well, whatever, Ben. But if I'm picking a team to get swept by, I'd rather get swept by a team that's actually good than a team that stinks. So there's that, I guess. But I know it's not going to make really anyone feel better. But yeah, the Padres, they got outscored 15-3 in this series. 6-1 loss today, 4-1 loss on Saturday, and then a 5-1 loss on Friday, excuse me. Sorry. But today, yeah, Nando gets it off bottom of the first with a homer, and it's 1-0. You got Michael King on the mound, and I'm feeling pretty good that, okay, the offense, maybe they'll get a couple of runs more. You got Michael King. You can bring in some of your top relievers. But what ends up happening is Michael King, again, cannot make it through 6 innings. He still has a 2.59 ERA. But with him, if I remember correctly, and I'm looking at his game logs, I'm pulling those up right now, it just seems like he hasn't been able to get through 6 innings. It's been close. He just hasn't been able to get through it very much. Obviously, he had the complete game shutout and that was a Sunday game that I was at against not the Mariners, the Rockies on April 13th. But a lot of 5-inning outings, 5 2/3, 6 innings against the Yankees, but last two, 5 2/3 and 5 1/3. And what really got him today, at least, was that 3rd inning where the Mariners scored 3 runs. And if you go through that 3rd inning, let me just go through everything in that 3rd inning there. Was it the 3rd? No, 4th. Sorry, not the 3rd. Sorry. 4th inning. Gets a couple of outs. So with 2 outs and then give 3 runs in that inning, it just really stinks. Rosarina with that homer. Tellez double, and it's put in as a double, but would it have been a double if Jason Hayward was out there, if Brandon Lockridge was out there? I'm not so sure. Gavin Sheets playing left field, that's not your best defensive alignment. Today it wasn't in general because Manny was DHing, Iglesias was at third, and Sheets is in left. It's obviously the ball's going to find you. That's just what baseball is, and so he doubles. Garver, it's a dribbler that lands down the third baseline. No one could get it. King couldn't get it in time. And that's also baseball. Like, that's just going to happen sometimes. Sometimes guys hit it hard and it's hit right at someone and it's an out. Sometimes it's a dribbler and you don't deserve a hit and you end up getting a hit. And then Leody Taveras with a double. Now, that saved a run on the ground rule double with the angle that there is there in the right field corner. But then there was Tatis in that. I think it was in that inning down the right field line. Maybe that was later in the game. But he goes, and it was impressive that he got to the ball, ran a long way, but it ends up going off of his glove, and that extends the inning there. It was also that was the inning. Miles Mastrobuoni, what a name, that ball was deflected off of Michael King. It's one of those where that totally would have been an out to end the inning if King lets it go because Crony was right there. But that's just baseball. That's just instinct. It's going to happen. So you think about the game of inches. That double down the left field line, barely fair. The ball off of Sheets, the ball off of Tatis, the ball off of King's glove. And it was just the swinging bunt, right? Like, it was just some of those things where it's just like, yeah, just not the Padres' day. Now, I'm not excusing them offensively. I'm just saying that some of those things, it's just like, yeah, Michael King, I thought pitched better than what the results are going to look like here today. 8 punch outs, walked only one guy, still has a 2.59 ERA, not bad. But obviously, the story of this weekend, the story today was the offense. Obviously, the big play of this game for me was when it was 4-1, Tatis up at the plate, 2 runners on. So Tatis, the game tying run up at the plate, and he grounds into a 5-4-3 double play. And the Padres end up going 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position today. And then yesterday, they went 0 for 8. And then on Friday, they went 0 for 7. So 0 for 21, right? 7, 8. Yeah. 0 for 21 with runners in scoring position. You cannot expect to win games that way. Just can't. Especially when the Mariners, they got the Padres with the long ball. They had the homer today from Arozarena. They had 2 homers yesterday. And I think they had 3 homers in game 1. And the Padres had 1 homer in the series. So just like the Mariners playing better baseball, the Mariners executing. That's just what it was. So I don't have a ton to add when it comes to today's game. Yesterday, obviously, it was very frustrating. It felt like a game in 2023 all over again, where you had guys on base. I forget what inning, but guys on base, and Emerson Hancock's able to get out of it because of a couple of strikeouts on just fastballs that are swung and missed. Manny, it felt like he was swinging through fastballs this weekend, and his follow through, it was like he's trying to launch a ball over the jumbotron, and it's just like, maybe we got to change the approach a little bit. And I feel weird saying that whenever I say that because I'm not a big league player. I think Manny knows what he's doing more than I do. I think Victor Rodriguez knows hitting more than we do, but like, to me, just watching, it just feels like sometimes they're getting out of the approach and trying to swing for the fences, and that's just not the smartest thing to do when things aren't clicking right now, or at least they weren't in the series. Now, Manny overall, yeah, he's been doing pretty darn good. He just came off, a 14-game on base or hitting streak? So Manny's one of the last guys I'm going to want to criticize because of how he's been playing. But yeah, it was rough watching Merrill. He's dealing with blisters. There was the screenshot I saw on Twitter today of him having his hand, I think his right hand, taped up, just blisters. But to me, that's a sign of him just working through things, him just grinding in the cages, taking hacks, more hacks, trying to fix whatever's going on, trying to get out of this, swing his way out of it. Because he's someone that clearly works hard. I think Bogey would be in that same boat. And sometimes that can be to your detriment. So we'll see. Merrill yesterday in a spot, I think it was late, maybe 8th inning, swings at a pitch that is at his eyes, and it's up and inside at his eyes, not even close to being a strike. And he knew it. Like, he was pissed off at himself too, obviously. But it's just like not being in the approach, maybe trying to be too aggressive. And then when you do get the good pitch and just swinging through it. So very frustrating to watch this weekend, obviously, as a Padres fan. I go back to the start the Padres got off to this season. Like, thank goodness that they got off to that start, because that 2-8 stretch that they endured when they had some injuries and then getting swept here by the Mariners, they're 27-18. If they were playing a couple games over 500, not 15-5 to start off the season, what would their record be now? So All of these games matter. All these stretches matter. And yeah, Merrill, I thought it was interesting. Merrill was telling, I think, Kevin Acee about, I want to say it was in his Padres Daily this morning, about him not wanting to give too much credit to the opponent. While, I see, and he didn't say this, but I see it. I've seen it before. I think Schilt did it today. I didn't watch it, but I've seen a little bit of that on social media about Schilt saying a tip your cap. It was like a tip your cap type of series for him. And Merrill is someone that doesn't want to do that. He does not want to make excuses. Here it is. They've got good arms. This was yesterday. Merrill said, I can't take away from the fact they have good arms, but I hate making the excuse, oh, he was good. He got me. I've hit off good pitchers. It doesn't matter. So he's not the guy to be like, well, just got to tip your cap. Manny says that sometimes. So maybe it's, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like guys go up there defeated when they're like, oh, the pitcher's got good stuff today. I hope that's not the case. Um, if that is the case, then yeah, Jackson Merrill needs to knock some sense into them, to some of his teammates if they do go up there or he senses a feeling of, people being defeated up there. But yeah, just not a fun series, not a fun series at all. And the Mariners, they're a good first place in the AL West. Although the Padres didn't face Logan Gilbert in this series. They didn't face what's his name? Bryce Miller. They didn't face him in this series. The one good guy, at least going in that I was like, oh yeah, that might be tough was today with Wu on the mound, and it ended up being tough. He had gone 6 innings in every start so far this year, and today he goes 7 innings, 1 earned run. He doesn't walk anybody. So he was really making the Padres earn it, and they didn't earn much, or they earned the loss, I should say. 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position today. And during the game, by the way, like for those that maybe you're asking for some optimism here, on the scoreboard on the Jumbotron at Petco, you know how they have the batting averages, and you look at the averages for these guys, the top guys in the order, Tatis, Arise, Manny, Merrill, and I'm like, all right, Tatis hitting 304, Arise almost hitting 300, Manny's at 317, Merrill's at 367. You look at the OPSs as well, and you're encouraged. So my point there is like, this is not the end of the world. There's still like our big guys are still having, pretty darn good starts here this season as we sit here on May 18th. I know it's disappointing to get swept, but there's still, I think, like positive things overall so far. The sample size we have, not just these 3 games, but if you zoom out a little bit, you can look at it that way. But that was me sitting there as the Padres, like clearly you knew that they were going to lose this game. They weren't coming back. I was looking at the Jumbotron and I'm like, well, there's that, I guess, at least. But yeah, not fun. 5-1 loss on Friday. Kolek, made some mistakes. Didn't locate very great. And the Mariners got him. Some homers. J.P. Crawford right out of the gate, missed spot. Rowdy Tellez, I think that was a missed spot as well. Cal Raleigh, I think that was a missed spot. That one more, though, wasn't just middle in and, a breaking ball to a lefty and it's gone. That was fastball, I think, and it was just Cal Raleigh got extended. And that guy loves playing against the Padres. Tellez, I'm pretty sure he does pretty darn good against the Padres as well. So I'm glad not to be seeing the Mariners coming up. And now the Padres, they got an off day, and then they go to Toronto, and they will be facing the Braves, I want to say, after that, before coming back home. To face 2 bad teams, I think, right? Marlins, Pirates, I want to say, are the 2 teams. So get through this road trip and then really take advantage when you're back at home. I'm tired of seeing, I'll say this, I'm tired of seeing Wandy Peralta and Sean Reynolds out there as the combination, because that means that the Padres are pretty much like waving the white flag out there. On Friday night, that's what happened. Today, that's what happened. Michael King exits, and you see Wandy jogging out, and it's like, oh, really? We're really doing that this early, huh? And I could be wrong. I could totally, you know, be about to say, like, hey, these bigger guys should have been pitching, and they weren't going to be pitching anyway. But they could have pitched. Like, there's a day off tomorrow, and Adam had a day off, had 3 days off before pitching 10 pitches yesterday. Estrada, same thing. Suarez didn't pitch in this series, which I don't think is the worst thing in the world, to be quite honest, because it is a long season. So, sure, you don't want to get swept, but him not pitching, hopefully then he'll be ready to go for this road trip. But, and they're not going to go to Adam in the 6th inning. I get that. But maybe throwing somebody other than Wandy Peralta where it's still, it's within range, right? To get back into that game. I probably would have preferred that when you're going into a day off. But Padres ended up going with Wandy and then going with Sean Reynolds. Now, those guys didn't allow any runs. Like, I don't want to make it seem like I was down on them and then they proceeded to give up runs. But it's just the thought of them coming into the game where it's just like, all right, maybe the Padres don't feel. I know Schilt would say that they're not waving the white flag there, but I don't think I'm alone. I think there's a lot of fans that would agree with what I'm saying there. And I did want to give an update on Yu Darvish because Kevin Acee, he put out an initial update in his Padres Daily newsletter about Darvish and how he's going to be traveling to Toronto with the team. Neither Darvish nor anyone else will say what is the plan for him once he gets there. That was before Schilt spoke post-game, and I'll continue with this update. It seems Darvish, who has been working back from an elbow issue since being sidelined in mid-March, will not make another rehab start, and the Padres appear likely to use a 6th starter on the 6-game trip to play the Blue Jays and Braves. Stay tuned. Then Schilt came out after today's game. This is from Annie Heilbrunn. Schilt confirms Darvish will not be pitching in Toronto. What I can tell you is he's going to continue to work on throwing and getting some other things taken care of, and he will not be pitching in Toronto. So could be just continuing to build up. He's not going to go on another rehab start. They were fine with what they saw when he was pitching in Vegas for El Paso. I think he went, 4 innings, around 50 pitches. And you go pitch in that Braves series when they expand it to a 6-man rotation. Getting Darvish back obviously would be big. We saw what Darvish did in the postseason last year. He didn't deserve to lose that last game to the Dodgers, that's for sure. And obviously it helps the rest of the rotation, right? If they do go to a 6-man, then that's going to be less times that guys are going out there frequently or as frequently, right? You get a little bit more time. Maybe you're more effective. Maybe you have a little bit more to give in that gas tank, and just less innings. Ultimately, it depends on how long they go with this, but less innings when you end up totaling it all up there at the end of the season. And coming up now, obviously there were a lot of days off for the Padres. I mean, since the start of the season, I think the schedule's been pretty darn friendly to the Padres, and so it's good that they have been able, for the most part, to take advantage of it, going 27-18. Because if we look at the schedule now, with the days off, the next day off after tomorrow, day off the 29th. So that would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 consecutive games. Blue Jays, Braves, Marlins, day off. And then in June, they don't have a day off until the 12th. So after the day off on the 29th, after that Marlins series, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 consecutive games. And those last 3 games of those 13 consecutive are against the Dodgers. So that's not great. 4 games in that stretch are at San Francisco against the Giants. day off after that Dodgers series, and then they play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, another 13 games in a row before a day off. So not a lot of days off here coming up in the month of June. June's going to be pretty darn tough. I'm looking at some of these opponents here. Phillies, Royals, Dodgers, 7 games there. D-backs in the middle of those Dodger games. The Giants 4 times. Who knows if they get Skeens during that Pirate series. So, yeah, buckle up here. Hopefully they're enjoying these days off. The Vedder Cup is something that I wanted to bring up here because, one, it's pretty stupid. Like, this whole rivalry weekend thing is stupid. Major League Baseball needs to change this. Like, having rivalry weekend on May 18th, or the end of it, right? The weekend of May 18th. How does that make sense? You've got the PGA Championship happening. You've got NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. The WNBA season just started. And during the rivalry weekend, by the way, you're not having these true rivalries in the division actually happen. If it's a real rivalry weekend, it would be Padres Dodgers. Or Dodgers, like, I don't care what it is, but for me, I'm saying Padres Dodgers because then it allows for Giants A's. Rangers Astros, okay, but no Yankees Red Sox. Yankees Mets, that is big in New York. So even if you want to do that, okay. I'm fine with Nationals and the Orioles, but Phillies Braves, where's that? Right? If it's Yankees Red Sox, it could be Mets Phillies or Mets Braves. Something like that. Cubs Cardinals. Cubs White Sox, okay, but I think the more interesting matchup is Cubs Cardinals. There's none of that. There was none of that. And they're going off this rivalry weekend of like the regional stuff. But then what happens is you throw random teams like the Padres and Mariners and the Blue Jays and Tigers with each other, and you're just totally forcing this. So if you're going to do a rivalry weekend, do it, when you have everything to yourself and the spotlight will be on yourself and you'll have these big matchups and you can stack the games like you see other leagues do. Like, for example, the WNBA yesterday was amazing what they did. They did Liberty Aces, and then right after, same channel, by the way, then they did Fever in the Sky. Stuff like that. We see NFL do it. We see NBA do it. Why don't you do that? And I know baseball is more of a regional game, but so we can even throw that argument out, that aspect out of it. But just for rivalry weekend, how about you do it where it makes sense? When it makes sense in the calendar year and with the opponents where it makes more sense. I don't know. It feels like it wasn't very successful this weekend. Feels like maybe the most successful was like Yankees Mets because there was the Soto return to the Bronx. Like that was part of it. I think that game's happening on Sunday Night Baseball, the final game of that series. But yeah, not a big fan of it. Today, actually, when I was at the game, there was someone sitting behind me in my section, and it was these two dudes talking, and one of them asked the other, "So why is it the Vedder Cup?" And the other said, "I don't know." And these are two guys that were talking pretty much the whole game, and they knew about baseball. They weren't just like showing up. Oh, it's cool. It's a game. Let's enjoy the food. Let's enjoy Petco Park. No, they were like talking about. They were updating frequently the Dodger Angels score and like wondering who's on second base when I think Ohtani was up. Like they were actually talking about it. So it seemed like they actually knew about baseball. And so you have people like that. Like, why is it the Vedder Cup? What is this? So it's forced. Fans were having fun with it on social media. That doesn't mean you have to make it a real thing in real life. Players don't know Pearl Jam songs. Mike like these guys, they don't care about it. It's just another series for them. So you're really forcing it. It's unnecessary. And if you actually want real excitement around rivalry weekend, again, make it about like actual rivalries. Maybe I'm wrong, but in Southern California, is Dodgers Angel like this big rivalry? it's more Padres Dodgers than Dodgers Angels, right? They just do that because of the locations. I could totally be wrong because I'm not locked into the Dodgers. I'm not locked into the Angels, but to me, it seems like uh, it would be more of a more excitement would come from Padres Dodgers in a rivalry weekend than putting it Dodgers Angels and having the Padres play the Mariners, you know? So, and like you can have the Giants still play the A's and you have the Padres play the Dodgers and you've got two right there. So, yeah, not great. All right, before getting to the chat, want to shout out the great partners of this show, Gaglione Bros. They've got famous cheesesteaks, garlic fries. Their main location is on Friars Road. Their expanded menu is there when you walk into that shop. But if you want still like garlic fries, cheesesteaks, cheese fries, you can go to Petco Park sections, I believe 124 and 319 at Petco Park. Down the third baseline and in the upper deck. And then they're at Snapdragon Stadium as well. By the way, rest of San Diego sports this weekend, SDFC, they drew with Sporting Kansas City. A lot of games recently for SDFC. I think they played 3 games in 7 days. So there was going to be some tired legs, obviously. And they do have some time, a little bit of time, though, before they host LA Galaxy, I think, coming up on Saturday. Now, Galaxy absolutely stinks. So hopefully they can get 3 points out of that. And then San Diego Wave carrying San Diego sports this weekend. It's not going to get talked about on sports radio or anything, which it's really disappointing, but it is what it is. But yeah, San Diego Wave obviously getting another win at Gotham, and that is 5 consecutive matches where they pick up points. So they deserve to be talked about more. I work for the team, so I can't, be talking about them, as much as they deserve to be talked about. But I do want to shout them out, obviously. FreestyleCutAndStitch.com. They've got customized basketball jerseys. They do some baseball jerseys as well. But if you want to show off your personality, support some of your favorite players, go over there to FreestyleCutAndStitch.com. Check them out. Um, Custom designs, manufacturing services tailored to teams. They've done little leagues, travel ball clubs, fan groups, businesses, one-of-a-kind merchandise for clients, fans, players, youth players, parents. Um, they just it makes you stand out, and it's pretty cool. It's cheaper than what you're going to go get for jerseys at the Padres team store, and you can get them in colors that you like, and not just the home jersey or the road pinstripes. If you want it in if you want a Jackson Merrill basketball jersey in 98 colors, you can go look at that and ask for that. Talking Friars is the code, 10% off any future order. So please check them out. They're on Instagram as well. Freestyle Cut and Stitch. Joe Musgrove wears them. Jackson Merrill wears them. Tyler Wade's worn it. Hassan Kim and Jerks, Profar were big wearers of those jerseys last year and in their Padres tenures. So it's not just me saying it. There are Padres players that love those as well. I think they have some San Diego State stuff as well. They could do SDFC. You make a request, they will do their best to go fulfill that for you. So please check them out. Again, freestylecutandstitch.com. If you're more of a shirt guy, I'm actually wearing the Jackson Merrill Breaking Tea Padres shirt right now. Go to Breaking Tea, link in the description. They've got some great Padres and Aztec shirts and sweatshirts. Merrill designs, Tatis designs, Darvish, Manny. They've got a lot of great stuff over there. So I definitely recommend Breaking Tea. Go check them out. Players have worn their shirts as well. And then same code for SeatGeek as for Freestyle Cut and Stitch. Code Talking Friars. For SeatGeek, you'll get $20 off your first order when you sign up with your email. All right. Let's get to the chat here. Hang on. Before I do that, I want to check social media real quick. Just see if I'm missing anything here. No, okay. Can we still win the Vedder Cup? No, because there's 3 games. The Vedder Cup's not over, by the way. This is just like for Champions League, there's a first and second leg. This is technically the first leg. 3 games here, and then there's going to be 3 games coming up in Seattle later this year. And I don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to present the trophy because it's going to the Mariners? With this run differential, it's probably going to the Mariners anyway. Are they just going to present it on the field, or which it's not a cup, right? Isn't it a guitar? I think it's a guitar. I'm sure on social media they'll have fun with it, but truly, does anyone actually care? No. Again, this whole Vedder Cup, Vedder, that guy, he's a Cubs fan, so it's just weird. JD's third says, "What aboutism, Ben? We got swept by the Angels last year too. Please, no excuses. Sounds like 97-3." Um, I mean, I don't listen to all their shows 24/7, so I can't like totally understand what you're talking about there. Am I making excuses for them? I mean, I'm pretty sure I said not good enough. I mentioned 0 for 21 with runners in scoring position. I mentioned the big guys not coming through, not doing a good enough job. Uh, I mean, I don't. What more do you want me to say? I still believe it's a good team. I'm not gonna just because they get swept. I'm by a good team, by the way. I'm not gonna sit here and say that this team stinks. Did their performance? Did the offense? Sure, but that doesn't mean that this is who they are now. And by the way, when they got swept by the Angels last year, what happened? They won 93 games. So getting swept does not mean your season's over. Mark says, "This dude's insufferable. A sweep is a sweep. Then why are you watching?" If I'm insufferable, then just you don't have to watch, but you're watching. Michelle says, "Something weird going on with some of the guys. They need some vibes. Merrill seems like he's going through something. He's going through a tough stretch. I mean, that's what's happening right now. Maybe you're saying he's going through something somewhere else in his life, but I'm not even going to speculate on that because who knows. But that doesn't make sense to even talk about anything off the field because we don't know about his life. But yeah, he's going through a tough stretch on the field. So yeah. And in fact, let me look up his game logs here recently. He has been chasing, I think, a little bit more than he usually does. Definitely the strikeout last night stood out. So really the tough stretch, it's been it's been 5 games. I know these 5 games probably have felt like forever, but it's been 5 games. That's literally been the tough stretch we're talking about. So no, we can't call this a slump. It's 3% of the season that we're talking about here. Today, 0 for 3. Yesterday, 1 for 4. 0 for 4 the game before that. 0 for 4. 0 for 4. So he has 1 hit in his last 5 games. That's 3, 7, 11, 15. So 1 for 19 in his last 5 games. Is that bad? Of course. But what about the games before that in the month of May? 3 for 4, 4 for 6, 3 for 5, 2 for 4, 2 for 4. Scored at least 1 run in all of those games, scored multiple runs on May 10th and May 12th before starting this stretch of the 1 hit in the 5 games. So let's not overreact to this. It's been 5 games. Those are the facts. People may overreact and say that he is really slumping and all that. They're not looking at the numbers. They just want to go with the narrative. So if I were you, I just wouldn't fall into that. Jedi Knight says the story is that the Padres are back to struggling with runners in scoring position, won't win many games if you can't score. Yep, of course. Yeah, that's the story for this series. Yep. Ricardo, cold streaks happen. AJ needs to find a left fielder and a catcher. Personally, I've been okay with the catching situation. I wasn't expecting much offense anyway. And if Campy comes up and he's the catcher, you might get some offense, but then your defense is going to suffer. And I'd rather have a strong defensive catcher and catching duo than have Campy, to be quite honest. I'd like the Padres to see Campy try left field. I know Sheets was out there today. Why not try it? Why not try it out there in the minor leagues? There's nothing to lose out there in the minor leagues. Because he's not going to be catching up here at the big league level. I think that's pretty clear, unless injuries, but I think that's pretty clear with how the Padres have operated. They don't trust him. Jay says Padres are effing pathetic. Yeah, pretty pathetic. 27 and 18. Pretty pathetic, huh? I know people are emotional, but some people it's overboard. 3 games of 162. Michelle asked what happened with Ryan Bergert. I think he's down in the minors still. He got sent down to make room. I think that's it. Mike says the Padres seem to be living off an easy schedule right now. Each time they face a good team, they get shut down. At least be aware. Let's see if you're accurate on that, actually. So, Braves, they swept them. Guardians swept them. Lost the Cubs series, won the A's series, swept the Rockies, won the Cubs series. I think the Cubs are pretty good this year, right? Lost the Astros series, lost the Tigers series, swept by the Rays. But then they won both games against the Giants, swept the Pirates, lost the Yankees series, won the Rocky series, won the Angels series, and swept by the Mariners. So you're right about some of these good teams they faced. Yeah, they've lost the series, or like this past weekend, obviously get swept. But I still like to see more than a month and a half of these games. I think the Padres are a good baseball team. Um, I don't. Yeah, I'm just not on that boat where it's like they're only good because of an easy schedule. Sure, they've had a easy schedule, but that's not. I don't think that's the main reason why they're good. Let's see. Continuing to go through the chat here. Manny doesn't have enough passion. Okay. See, it's these things like when they lose, Manny doesn't have enough passion. He's in decline. But then when they're winning, I wasn't hearing any of this. And it's the same year. So, yeah. Just people overreacting to losing. I sort of agree with this. Mike says our left fielder today showed why he is no outfielder and belongs only as a fill-in DH. Um, yeah, I, I'm not putting Sheets in left field every day for sure. But are you going with the offense or are you going with Lockridge? And if you wanted Sheets in there, well, you can't have Manny play the field every day. Like the Padres strategically did this where you can get a half day from Manny, you can still have him up there at the plate, but get him off his feet for most of the game and then a day off. Because, like I just talked about moments ago, with that long stretch of games, there's going to be back to back 13-day stretches, right, with like one day off in between. It's going to be a lot. So it's a long season. And sometimes you're going to put guys in the outfield that you wouldn't put there every day, that you don't put there every day. And sometimes the ball's going to find them. Bottom line, though, even with that happening, like the offense still should have been better. No excuses for this series. No, I agree. Yeah. I'm not saying like there shouldn't be these, excuses being made. Yeah, they should have been better. What I am saying is I still think like overall this is a good Padres team and this is 3 of 162 games, and some of these people's comments, whether it be on social media or be in the chat here, uh, it's just overreacting to it. And that's my opinion. That's just what it is. So I wonder what people will be saying when the Padres start winning again. Will you be saying Manny has no passion? Manny's in decline. This offense. What was the? What was I? What did I read earlier? The team's pathetic or something. Like, come on, guys. But I mean, you can fan however you want to fan. I appreciate the passion, but I do disagree with it sometimes. That's all. So coming up for the Padres, day off, obviously. Got the Toronto Blue Jays coming up. How are the Blue Jays? They got Vlad extended, 22 and 24. So that's kind of what I expected. Tuesday, 4:07 p.m. at the Rogers Center. Wednesday, 4:07. Thursday, 10:07 a.m. our time. Then no day off between Toronto and Atlanta. Go, at least that's an early game on Thursday. Go to Atlanta, 4:15, and then Saturday, 1:10, Sunday, 1:10 our time. And no day off. Monday, back at home, Marlins for 3 games. And then that day off Thursday. So not very many days off coming up. So they got to enjoy it. I know it is May 18th, but I still do like at least looking at it. With the Padres being swept, you would think the world's about to end. They're 1 game back in the division. 1 game back. Giants are right there too, by the way. And in the wild card, they are in the second wild card spot. I doubt they're going to go over 21 with runners in scoring position in Toronto or in Atlanta. So at least there's that. Thanks everyone for the time. Much appreciated. Hope you all have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll talk to y'all later. See ya.